Hey guys, my name is Kat. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to tell you about my ear stretching journey because boy, was it a journey. Let's start off with a sip of coffee. Oh no, I finished my first cup. Don't worry because I have a second one right here ready to go. I have a problem. Alrighty, now what would possess a goody two-shoes straight A student like myself to take her lovely pierced ears and make the holes in them big enough to put a straw through? Well, my friends, I'll tell you, that thing is called rebellion. So when I went to college at age 18, this was in the fall of 2008, I got into a group of friends who were very, let's say, alternative. I was exploring my sexuality, I was smoking and drinking for the first time, as a lot of kids do when they go to college, and of course I got in with a group of kids who were very queer, very punk, wore all the cool clothes, were tattooed and pierced, and had stretched earlobes. Now, when I looked at the actual reasoning for why I wanted to stretch my earlobes, it's because I have very tiny little ears and I wanted to make them seem bigger. And I know that makes absolutely no sense, but at the end of the day, I just thought they looked so cool and I really wanted to look cool like everybody else, but was too big of a wimp to go and get tattooed or pierced. Yet, I did end up piercing my eyebrow. It rejected, and now I'm left with a lovely little scar here. How did I stretch my lobes for the first time? The crappy way, let me tell you. If you've ever been in Hot Topic or Spencer's, they usually have a selection of plugs and tapers. Plugs are the little short, round things that just go in your ear. Tapers are the ones that are longer and come to a point. I purchased a plastic or acrylic, whatever this material is, set to stretch my poor little lobes from the standard piercing size, which is like a 20 gauge, I think, up to, I don't know, I wanted to get up to at least a 0 or a 00 because it's at that size that you can start getting cooler designs that have hollowed insides or filigree, like cool stuff, right? So I started stretching with the plasticky, which you should never do, taper set. Now, the thing about those and why you shouldn't use them is because this plastic material is kind of porous and so it traps bacteria. Now, my stretching journey did not turn sour until I got to this size, which is a 0. Now the stretch from a 2 gauge to a 0 gauge is the biggest, I guess, distance or size difference of any of the sizes. So pretty much it goes in tiny little millimeter increments from 20 or 18 is usually the first size of a taper that you'll get, and it goes bigger in size from the larger number. So like 14 is bigger than 18, 12 is bigger than 14. Does that make sense? Maybe I'll insert a chart here to help with the visualization for people who don't know. You're supposed to wait like a month or so just until your current size has healed from the stretching that you did before. And for different people, that amount of time can be different. For all my friends who were stretching their lobes at the time, for a lot of them that had big fleshy lobes, they could literally go up in a size after like a week or two. Just absolutely ridiculous. For me, I always had to wait a month or more for my ears to heal in between the different sizes. So I should have taken that as a clue that I wasn't ready to go up to a 0, but nobody told me that the jump from 2 to 0 was so big. The night that I decided to stretch my ears from 2 gauge to 0 gauge, I might have had a little bit of, the marijuana, which clearly makes you think differently than you would if you were sober. And I felt very brave and very ready. I had been at 2 for, I don't know, months at that time. I was so tired of wearing 2 gauge for whatever reason, was ready to go up to 0. I went to stuff the taper into my ear, and it got kind of stuck with about this much sticking out. And I thought to myself, let me just shove it on in. And it wouldn't go, and it hurt. It really hurt. Now, the rule for stretching your ears is that if it hurts badly to try to stretch, and if there's a lot of resistance, you're not ready to go up to the next size. Did I listen to that advice? Did I know that advice at the time? Who knows? All I knew was, hey, it won't go in, so let me just go get some olive oil, lube it up, and shove it through even though it hurts. That was a very bad idea. I blew out the backs of my ears. Now, you've probably never seen what a blown out earlobe looks like, but let me just show you. It looks like that, right? It's frayed, there's pieces of bloody flesh towards the back of the piercing. It's not a pretty sight. And it hurt, when I tell you, throbbing pain, okay? And blood on my fingers every time I touched it. It was just the stupidest choice that I had made up to that point. And I made a lot of stupid choices when I was in college. This was probably around, I don't know, Thanksgiving break or something. By the time Christmas break rolled around and I was at my parents' house, the pain in my lobes was so bad, the swelling was so bad that I could barely sleep at night because I'm a side sleeper and I was laying on this painful throbbing thing. I knew I couldn't take the jewelry out because then the earlobe holes would close up. So I just started Googling what to do. And all I read was, don't use the acrylic tapers. Oops. Don't try to stretch to the next size up if there's any resistance when shoving the taper in. Oops. Literally, as I read, I was kicking myself for making this terrible decision. At the end of all my delayed research, I came upon an article which said you take a small shallow dish and you put warm water with salt and you soak your earlobe in it like this for 15 minutes 3 times a day. So over the course of that Christmas break, that is exactly what I did. I soaked my bleeding, pussy, stinky, disgusting earlobes in these little shallow dishes, and I literally would sit like this with my lobe soaking in a tiny little glass dish. At the end of all that, they did heal. However, they healed with a significant amount of scarring inside of the lobe. I might show you. Let me see if I can get a shot. If you can kind of see, there are some white lines and there are some darker red lines. That is where the stretching occurred, like this. On the inside of my ear, the walls like this, they stretched that way when they weren't supposed to. That's not how they're not supposed to stretch that way. Did I know this as an idiot 20-year-old? No, I did not. So fast forward a few years, my ears healed, kind of. If I ever left jewelry out of my ear, and this still applies to today, the stretched part would close up pretty significantly. And there was a period of time when I was pursuing an acting career when I wanted to look a little more vanilla and a little less edgy. So I left my piercings out for about a year and hoped that they would heal up completely. They didn't. Which, when I decided to re-stretch them earlier on last year, turned out to be a good thing. And I purchased a set of stainless steel tapers and plugs, and I started with, I don't know, like a 6, it went right through. Then a 4 also went right through. The 2s were a little tight, but slipped right through. And I was really shocked that after all that time with no jewelry in these stretched lobes, that it was still at a 2 gauge. But at the end of the day, I ended up re-stretching. I'm doing a lot of this in the video. At the end of the day, I was very close to a 0 again. So I just put those stainless steel plugs in my ears and let them heal up. Now, recently, when I was pregnant, I got lazy and just stopped putting in my earrings all the time. I was taking them out to sleep at night. I don't know if you know this, but pregnant ladies have a really hard time sleeping. Everything is uncomfortable. It's so weird when you have this big giant belly. You can't sleep like you used to. You have to relearn how to sleep. It's this whole thing. So anything I could do to make myself sleep better, I was doing. So I was taking out my earrings every night. When I woke up in the morning, I'd put them in. Editing Catherine here. What I meant to say by that whole story about me being pregnant and taking my plugs out to sleep at night was that I forgot to put them in one morning and they just never got put in for about a month or so. I think I went into labor with her and just didn't have them in for about a month. So the next time I tried to put them in, they were closed up a good bit, so I had to restretch them. Yeah, that sucked. I pretty much have learned my lesson that I cannot leave my ears naked for any period of time or they'll heal up significantly to the point where I can't wear any of my current jewelry in them. I still to this day cannot put a flared tunnel in my ears. No, it has to be straight all the way through. Maybe I'll show you. Ugh, this one is really dirty. I'm so sorry. So this is traditionally the type of tunnel that I wear. It is stainless steel. And you see here how the back part on this side is pretty much straightforward. The other side has what we call a flare. See, it goes out just a little bit, which kind of holds it in your ear. On the back side, you have this little ring and it sits in the groove just like that to hold it. Gauges. God, I did the air quotes again. Somebody come and arrest me. Some pairs of plugs or tunnels or whatever, they have double flares. So they have the flare on the front like this and on the back. And you have to have sort of flexible lobes to be able to wedge that through because it's slightly bigger than the size of the actual hole. Ugh, it's so hard to explain this. But I cannot wear anything that is double flared. I have some really cute jewelry that if I try to wear it, I literally have to grease up my ear, brace myself, and endure the pain to get it in. And then later on, trying to get it back out of my ear is like, whew. I don't wear double flares. I only wear single flares like this with a little rubber band at the back to hold it in, or spirals like this. Thusly, it has been quite a journey with these lobes, and it looks like they are gonna be pretty much permanently stretched for the rest of my life, which I'm okay with. I chose to have an alternative sort of style at this point in time in my life, and going forward, I might not stick with an alternative style, but these lobes, they are pretty permanent, like tattoos and everything, which I've also chosen to adorn my body with. Do I recommend you stretching your lobes? Yes, if you want to, do it. Go as far as you like. I will never stretch larger than this 0 size because of the damage, the scarring inside of my ear tissue as it is. I don't think that I'd be able to stretch any further, which sucks because the bigger you go, the cooler the jewelry you can get. If you're gonna stretch your lobes, get a stainless steel set of tapers and plugs. Wait in between sizes, as excruciatingly hard as it can be. Wait until your lobes are completely ready, and definitely, if you don't really know what you're doing, please seek a professional's help. I am not a professional. Clearly, you have just heard how I fucked it up my lobes by being a stupid 20-year-old. At the end of the day, go for it. If you absolutely hate them, after all of the effort and time and money spent stretching your lobes, you can have them stitched up, you can have them fixed. It's not that big of a deal. Thank you so much for watching this video and hearing my little story about my poor wretched lobes. If you made it this far, I ask you please to subscribe to my channel. It makes me very happy. Thank you for being a part of my community. Thank you for viewing my pixels. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hopefully will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.